Welcome, everyone, to the Dragoon's Lair podcast. I am the Blue Dragoon himself, Daniel the Dragon, and with me once again is the incomparable family man, James Haynes.
I've come out of the sphere again.
And this time around, we have, for a brief amount of time, we have the lovely and talented Danielle Merivet Hernandez.
Hello, I've joined you once again.
Yes, we're happy to have you back. So today we're going to be we're going to go over our Wrestlemania recap because the card has changed, but we're going to be talking about the movie Y2K. Yes. We're going to be talking about the show The Bondsman. But we have some anime news before we get to Danielle's segment as to why we have her here today, because it's for a very special reason, and you'll find out shortly. Now, just so people know, for our anime news, because there's been a bunch of anime content that's come out that I really wanted to discuss, because they made the announcement Devil May Cry Season 2 has been announced for Netflix, so we will be getting that. We know that they have finally made the announcement that there will be a 7th season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So they have finally decided to adapt that one from the manga. And we're in the spring, so now there's so many new animes that have come out. You have Lazarus that dropped on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim.
Been watching that.
And it's created by the creator of Cowboy Bebop.
Yes.
So you know it's going to be very interesting. There were certain limitations where they didn't want it to be so goofy and like comical as Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo have been in the past. But there is one other piece of news that I'm excited to announce, that they recently announced that they are doing a new Ghost in the Shell series. So I don't know if it's a movie or a series, but there will be a new adaptation of Ghost in the Shell as an anime, which that one was very visually stunning back in the day. Mm-hmm. So the graphics and everything that they're going to do now should really be very impressive.
Kick it up more notches.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh, you are frozen.
Oh, great.
Yeah, camera froze. Hang on.
Camera froze.
Yep. All right, let's see if we can... Technical difficulties, folks.
Please stand by.
Yep.
Isn't Ghost in the Shell the one that had all of the drama because Scarlett Johansson was cast in the live action?
Yes, that was the live action one, which...
Okay, just reflecting on what I know about this anime.
Yeah. Ghost in the Shell has actually been pretty amazing as a concept for quite a while. And I mean, first time I saw it, it was originally, I believe, in the 90s when it was on like the Sci-Fi Channel, when on the weekends they would do a weekend version of like, here's a bunch of different anime movies. So that was where I was first like exposed to Akira and a few others.
Oh, Akira.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's see.
I've gotten to see that on the widescreen. That is fabulous.
Oh, man. The first time I saw that was after a wicked hangover on the couch, dying with my friend. That is not the anime film to watch when you're dying from a hangover.
Oh, absolutely not.
Mistakes were made.
Trying to get the camera back up and running. There we go.
Hello, nurse.
Yeah, now you guys are back. So, yeah. So, sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. But, yes. So... Ghost in the Shell has been very influential in the anime sphere, and there was somebody who did like to make the announcement for Disney Snow White. Everyone was very grateful that Snow White actually has done so terribly at the box office that it has now passed on the adaptation curse that most anime have, where they don't get a good live action adaptation. Well, that's what they're all saying about Disney right now for Snow White.
So you guys have now cursed Questlove, please.
No, listen.
Because he's going to do the Aristocats.
What?
Yes.
No.
Well, because of how poor...
How are you going to get cats to play jazz?
Yeah.
For real. They're not. They're going to animate it. Just call them animated. They're not real.
Exactly.
At that point...
If they could do the Lady and the Tramp...
Yeah,
they could do that.
But you have to realize one thing that's happened because of it is the fact that because of Snow White, Tangled live action has actually gotten postponed.
I think that's okay because the animated film is excellent.
Yes.
Let it be postponed until they figure out their
There was no reason to really remake the animated ones in the first place, especially when you take like The Lion King, they told that same story again. So it really was a remake of a movie that had no reason for a remake, and you can't call it live action when every lion was animated CG anyway.
Right.
You can make
At
them
that point,
look.
Just say CGI.
Yeah, you can make them look realistic, but it doesn't mean anything if you're going to call it live action, because live action animals don't talk.
Right. I don't think they've noticed that.
No. You know, they all have their issues. But we do, since we did mention Disney,
Yes, we
now
did.
this brings us to Danielle, because you were recently in Screamboat.
Yes, I was an extra, just to clarify.
Yes.
I'm excited to share these behind-the-scenes info with you.
Yes.
But it was based on Steamboat Willie being released into the public domain.
Yep, which was which was a very big deal,
Yes.
because Disney's very protective of Mickey, and the fact that Steamboat Willie has gotten out into the public domain.
I'm glad you phrased it like that, because that's exactly what happens in Screamboat. He gets out into the public domain.
Yes.
However, it's important to note that Steamboat Willie and Mickey Mouse differ, because Steamboat Willie does not have the iconic white gloves, and that is
Yep.
a big deal to be able to use his iconography
Yes.
in the film. Yeah, so where shall I begin?
So now, how did you get involved with Screamboat?
Okay, so Screamboat is a production by the director Stephen Lamorte, who is a former Staten Islander.
Ah.
There we go. So he is the director, and he and his wife, Amy Schumer. Nope, I do that all the time. That's the actress. Amy
Yes.
Schumacher. Amy, forgive me. I love you. Thanks. They put this production together with the production company Fuzz on the Lens, and they've worked on several other horror films. They have done The Mean One, which is the Grinch horror film. And so they really enjoyed taking beloved protagonist and just saying, but what if? Horror monster.
Yes.
So Steamboat Willie takes place, excuse me,
Screamboat.
Screamboat takes place on the Staten Island ferry, where the trapped spirit of Willie is unleashed, and he's been trapped in there for almost 100 years. And he's gone a little deranged in his isolation and madness, and he's bloodthirsty now.
Yes. Now that seems like this isn't part of the Pooniverse of horror
that's
movies.
That's a different
Yes.
topic. But it is in a very similar vein.
Yeah.
It's very graphic. It's unnecessarily gory, but it knows exactly what it is, and it has so much fun with that.
Yes. Now, I mean, I know it had a limited run in the theaters. Have you gotten any word on when it will have like a streaming release or even a wider release?
I have not personally. Again, I was involved because they were filming in Staten Island, and I
Okay.
knew Amy personally, and she
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, would love to have some Staten Islanders actually on the ferry. Would you like to be a part of this?" But I'm not really part of the release or the paperwork that went on
Yeah.
behind the scenes. It was very lucky that they got that limited run, because it's an indie horror, and in this industry, that was a huge feat. It's a labor of love, and when you watch the film, you can see it.
Yeah.
There are Disney Easter eggs littered throughout the entire film, and they're there for the fun of the audience. Like, we all know what we're watching, we all know what we're riffing on, and when you take that with a grain of salt, you can really enjoy, the horrible destruction. There will be
good
no
twisted-
survivors.
Oh, yes.
A twisted Disney tale.
Now, I didn't get a chance to see it in the theaters. Did you get a chance to?
Unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately, but did you get a chance to see yourself on the big screen?
I did. Oh my god, I was so excited because again, I was only there 2 days. They took about a month's time to film this on the Staten Island ferry here. I do believe it was the one that's owned by Pete Davidson and Colin Jost.
That wouldn't be
that's the
surprising.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
There you go. And well, in the film, it's the Mortimer. There's one of your Easter eggs.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
right.
And so I was there for 2 days, and I got to take part in a few different scenes. So, I mean, spoiler alert. I know you guys didn't see it, but you've been warned.
Yes.
Okay.
There is a mass electrocution scene, and that's where I saw myself. So it takes place on the bottom deck of the boat. At this point, enough murders have happened where the crew is like, so we kind of have a problem here. Obviously, the best thing to do is get everyone together, except for the leads, so they can escape. And Willie, ooh, I'm all tangled up. Willie, like, unleashes water onto everyone and he causes a surge, a breaker surge, and so we all, and I saw myself in the background. There is a cop who gives a speech about how we're gonna take this guy down on our Staten Island ferry. Come on. So I'm in the background going, ooh, ooh. And I saw myself. I was like, that's me. I did it. And then I can see the top of my head from when the camera is shooting behind me to the leads, who are like, hey, what's going on in there? And they're separated from what's about to happen.
So you were there for both of the production days that you
I was there for two of those days.
Two of the
The
days.
30 days, yes.
Okay.
So now,
Yes.
how was your experience on the set for that?
Oh, it was fantastic. First of all, it's nostalgic because they dressed up the ferry to look how it did 20 years ago. I'm talking the concession stand was like real again.
Oh.
And,
Oh, wow.
like,
So they actually made it
cookies,
look
beers,
vintage. Yeah.
popcorn, like anyone who's ridden the Staten Island ferry in the last 20 years,
Shine?
not recently.
Shine? Shine?
You'll
all.
recognize it. And
Yes.
also, they maximized on all of the locations. They filmed on the outside, they filmed on the inside. They go into the bowels of the boat, they go onto the roof. They really, like, wrote a love song for the ferry, which I feel gets kind of a bad name, or not maybe a bad name, but overlooked. It's
Yeah.
an iconic part of traveling into the city, you know?
You know, it's a normal touristy thing where the only sad part is that when people take the Staten Island ferry, they take it, get to Staten Island from the Manhattan side, then rush right back out to go right back around, missing out on any of the sights that there are to see on Staten Island.
Yeah.
So it
well,
is a little upsetting when they do things like that, but it's to be expected from tourists.
Staten Island also needs to go out of its way to be more travel safe for tourists
Yeah.
because there are cool things to see, but you need to know where you're going to get there.
Yeah,
Otherwise
to
it's
get
easy
to like,
go.
yeah, getting to Snug Harbor, if you don't know exactly where to go, like historic Richmond Town,
Exactly.
you're not going to know exactly where to go. So it would be a little easier if Staten Island was a little more visitor friendly.
Yes.
Yeah. Embrace it. Why are we fighting this?
Yeah.
Come on.
But yeah, so now for you, the days that you were there, like how many hours was it for
It was
your filming?
full days. They were full days. I arrived at the start of the day, not like crack of dawn, but by 9 a.m. I was on set,
right.
and then we were there past midnight. And it was also because they had to work with who they had available at the time and which parts of the ferry they were able to film on. So I got to watch scenes that I wasn't actually in. Like there's a scene with Willie creeping up the concession stand because a child is back there. Anyway, and so the way they did it is they both had a puppet and an actor. And so it's the puppet that you get to watch crawling up. And so that was my first Willie reveal. I was like, whoa, okay. And when you see him on camera, like Willie is 1 foot tall. He's like a giant mouse. But
Yeah.
he's a mouse. He's a mouse with I want to say like a monkey face. It's not quite human. It's not quite mouse, but it is simian in nature.
Okay.
And sometimes he's like ridiculously small and doing a little jig. He's very gleeful in his crimes. Oh yes, he does a whistle. Oh my god, one of my favorite scenes. How many spoilers can I give?
You can give as many
Guys,
spoilers as you
alright.
I
want.
don't know when it will become available, but do stream this if you love horror, if you love Disney, and you can accept the crossovers. I'm a delicate flower, so I watched a lot of the gore like this. But it was still a lot of fun. And there's a scene, the captain won't be surviving it, and after Willie is done decapitating him, his body drops and Willie climbs onto it because he's a small mouse, and he grabs the wheel and he recreates that iconic scene, and he's whistling and dancing, and the dead captain's just rocking back and forth under the weight of Willie.
See, now this definitely sounds like my kind of horror movie
100%.
because it sounds like there's an element of fun to it along with the gore.
Yes.
Some people may not be for the gore, but it's at the same time, if you put a humorous element into it,
Yeah.
it makes it more palatable.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who I've watched like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I still have to see the second one, but I did watch Peter Pan's Nightmare Neverland.
Oh, really?
And that one was quite disturbing.
Well, it's Peter Pan. It has the right vein to be disturbing.
Yes, well, this one is a whole new take on it, so it was definitely an interesting, and I know it's part of the Pooniverse, so Screamboat is not part of that. It's a
No.
standalone universe of itself, which I am absolutely dying to see it, and I'm like kicking myself that I wasn't able to see it in the theater.
Again, such a short run. It's okay, but now that you know about it, do go see it. You can catch my corpse for 1 full second in that electrocution scene. I have a great spilled on the bench. I was very pleased about that.
Yeah.
And I even got to see my credit, passenger. Danielle Hernandez.
There
I
you
don't want to
go.
brag, but I'm a
Good.
passenger now.
There you go. You better have an IMDb credit up there now.
I know, right?
Yes.
Fantastic.
So now, other than being in Screamboat, you have your one-woman show coming up.
Absolutely. Completely different vein from Screamboat, someone else's property. I had a lot of fun being a part of that, and it made me appreciate horror on a different level. But my one-woman show is a totally different animal. It's theater as opposed to film. It is my own original work, and I mean, I guess we could look at the horrors of reality, but it's not about horror. It's more about our expectations versus our experiences with each other, humanity. So like my coming of age tale and my perceptions growing up on what is womanhood and looking at like magical women, sorceresses, Ms. Frizzle, Magic School Bus, and loving all of that. And then as I continue to grow up, starting to see the darker side of womanhood and darker characters, things women are willing to do in their desperation, and also in like the forbidden aspects. I went to Catholic school, and so I was very much groomed to be good, be angelic, just be kind and friendly.
Be
and
afraid
I
of the
appreciate
ruler.
it. That's what it comes down to, right? But also then, like, what my perceptions of men were. Like, I grew up with Disney princes, right? Here we are talking about Disney. But then I also loved Hercules and Xena, and the men of that realm were terrifying warlords who were pillaging and plundering in every capacity. So it's about, from my perspective, what I internalized, how I made my choices from there, and then asking my audience to ask themselves, like, what stories have you guys internalized? Where are you making your choices from? Does it still work for you? What do you want to keep and change? All in about an hour.
Now, how
Do
long have you
join.
been working on this one-woman show?
I wrote it originally in 2018.
Okay.
So it's gone through several incarnations. I'm calling this one Danielle XX 2025 because a lot of things have changed since I wrote it in 2018.
Yes, many things have changed.
Many things have changed. And I mean, when I wrote this, it was a celebration of being alive today as a woman, an American woman specifically, with all of these freedoms to celebrate my humanity, my ability to enjoy being in a human body and seek out my experiences without needing to be chained to a person or a religion. And then, I mean, of course, it always comes back to love. How do I define love? How do you define love? Do they match? I don't know. You tell me. So this is the first time I'm putting it up in 5 years. I did an abridged version in 2023 for the United Solo. No, that was 2020. That one was canceled. I don't know if you guys
I
remember.
wonder why it was
2020.
canceled.
There was just so much going on. But at the pit, they had Solocom Fest, and so my piece was nominated. I put it up for Solocom Fest.
Good.
But this will be the first time it's done fully. So I've really been reviewing my material and going, does this still fit for me? What do I want to share now? And I think what I'm really coming to acknowledge is how much my definition of love includes friendship and how misunderstood or even underappreciated friendship can be. Now, Dan, you were one of my actors when I filmed this in 2021.
Yes.
I wanted to turn it into a feature, and I filmed several parts, and I have a part about men in war, and Dan is one of my warriors.
Yes, and our buddy Henry is also in that.
Yes. And so I have all this fantastic footage. So one thing that's going to be different about this incarnation is I want to use all this footage that I've been sitting on like a giant Easter egg. Like, let's hatch that that baby. Let's watch it on screen and let's see how the energy changes when, yes, I'm there as the storyteller. I'm here weaving the narrative that I'm inviting you into. And I'm talking about other humans. I'm not the only human in this world. So that's something to look forward to and to share with you now.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very glad to know that that is getting used and that people will actually get a chance to see it.
Right?
So now, when are they going to be able to see this, and when are they, for the experience itself, where will it be at?
So this is going to be May 18th, 2025. Sunday, May 18th, 6 p.m., New York City. I would love other people to come, but obviously one city at a time. So if you're in New York City on Sunday, May 18th, come to the Producers Club. That's 358 West 44th Street between 8th and 9th. It's closer to 9th. You can get there by the Blue Line, the ACE. Get off at 42nd Street, walk 2 blocks. And that is on the 2nd level. Now, this is important, and I apologize. It is not wheelchair accessible. It is up a flight of stairs. They do not have an elevator. I'm sorry. But
Well, that you can't control the venue.
Yeah, you can't.
outside of my wheelhouse. But I want it to be known. I want it to be more accessible to more people.
Everybody.
But one theater at a time. So what I really want to do is, yes, I'll put this up next month, and I'd love to continue to put this up in other theaters, in other locations, in other states, you know?
Yep.
So if you're available, I have an Eventbrite invitation. It's like 20 yen change if you do it through the Eventbrite. If you buy at the door, it's 25. And it's about an hour, so come on out. Now, this place is attached to a bar, so that makes it 21 plus for this incarnation. But the material itself is not for 21 plus. I think it's for everyone who's hit puberty and on.
Well, I will definitely be putting a link to that in the show description and notes so that people will be able to get the tickets and come see you, because I know how you are. So this will definitely be an interesting event as well as entertaining.
Yes, and that's what I'd like to do. Have your entertainment, and then through your entertainment, be like, aha, we're educating each other.
That's it.
Yep. Now, not only that, but you also are doing a Bridgerton podcast as well.
I am. So I don't know if you guys, it's been a little while. You and I chat about this. Dan. I don't know if you and I have chatted about this at all. But Bridgerton.
No, I've watched his.
Yeah, Bridgerton is filming the 4th season, and for 4 years, I was putting marketing materials, and I was like, "Dear Shondaland, have you heard about Danielle Maravette Hernandez?" Now, it was for the role of Sophie Beckett, who has already been cast, and she just is so important to my heart. I have a collection of Cinderella narratives, and the Sophie narrative is right in one of those Cinderella tales. To me, Cinderella is the everyman of womanhood, because it's about underappreciated service and labor, abandonment of family, and then the reclamation of ourselves. It happens through a romantic lens, but it is so much more than that. So, my podcast with Melanie Hill is called We Are Sophie, because Sophie is an archetype, and she tells such an important tale in this season of Bridgerton. Spoiler alerts. We follow the brother Benedict. Benedict is the artist brother, and he has had quite a few liaisons at this point. But in his tale, he is at a masquerade. He lines up with Sophie, who has snuck in. She is the bastard daughter of an earl, which in that time period, authentically, in that time period, to be a bastard child is to be illegitimate, which means you're not recognized, and it's your fault, and it's your problem, and it's up to you to not starve and die on the streets because of really stupid rules where we don't acknowledge the children that we create. And that is one of the merits of her story. So We Are Sophie goes into like the real humanity of it all, while also gushing about how much the books meant to us. I mean, it's a romance novel. If you're not picking up on this, romance, very important to me and to the world. And I think also underappreciated, romance does not always have to be carnal. I think we can romanticize our experiences by choosing to, again, put on an appreciative lens. And I mean, I like to purple prose up a space like it's a job. So right now I can romanticize this warm spring evening with my two gentlemen friends in which we share our thoughts and ideas about our favorite media or the media that's caught our attention while all the flowers on the trees are blooming outside. And this is a beautiful romantic time without anything untoward occurring. So We Are Sophie is available on my YouTube channel. That is Des Marivet Productions. Des Marivet being a squished version of my full name, yeah. Danielle Marivet Hernandez. My friend Sevens Martinez actually dubbed me that moniker when I was like, I'm not Googleable. And she was like, what if you try this? And Sevens is from not a previous incarnation. She's very much alive and well. Hi, Sevens. But from the group Say What NYC, which is an improv group that I performed with for well over a decade. And they are so much fun. That's more like Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes.
That's neither here nor there. I just like giving them a shout out.
And that's what we're good for here, giving shout outs and making sure people discover something new that they may not have thought about. Or it's like, hey, this is something that you might want to check out because this may not be in the wheelhouse for here, but if we can get somebody to where they want, it's like that's the wheelhouse they find really appealing. And that's something that I enjoy doing is pointing people at talented people who have something that's a spark that will get somebody else's creative juices going even.
Yes.
And like the way you describe everything is so vivid and it's very inspirational. So I'm pretty sure from your podcast is going to basically be very descriptive and it's going to fill people's imaginations.
Yes, and hopefully it will bridge the gap while we are waiting and starving for more Bridgerton content.
Yes. And then once Bridgerton comes out, you're definitely going to be welcome back on the show.
I am ready to break it down. You do not understand what this story means to me.
Oh, yeah, because I wasn't 100% on board with Bridgerton at first. I gave it a shot, and then it was like I started getting hooked. So it was like, and then knowing you and that your interest, it was something that got me to be able to have those discussions because I couldn't get Jimmy or Mike to be able to jump on board. But it's not everyone's cup of tea.
It won't be. For one thing, it gets explicit, and not everyone can appreciate explicit content. Danielle XX explores why people get uncomfortable about explicitity without becoming overly explicit ourselves. And I mean, that's also part of the reason why it's named Danielle XX, because I know that's going to lure an audience in, and there's so many X words that are either appropriate or not. But Bridgerton also, I think, tricks people because it looks like just any other flowery romantic
Period piece.
And it is not. And it's based on romance novels by Julia Quinn, which have been out over 20 years. But it's so wonderful to watch the romance novel genre open up for television and not just be stuck in moviedom.
Yeah.
Movies are fun, but when you can expand on the characters and the costumes, the costumes. I eat it up. Even though this is romantic fantasy, so a lot of these costumes are over the top, more colorful, in fabrics that didn't actually exist. And I mean, that's modern television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, when Bridgerton does come out, are you going to be in full costume?
Listen, I need to get my hands on full costume or apply some real seamstress knowledge to my brain, which I have not done.
And unfortunately, Joann's Fabrics is like closing down all over. So yeah, trust me, it hurt me because it's like I like having a good sewing kit on hand. I made a puppet years ago for a project Mike and I were going to do. It's kind of been on delayed, but the puppet's still there. So I did that all from scratch.
What is this puppet?
Oh, that I'll show you another time.
Oh, is that another time? We can't briefly touch upon it.
Oh, no, I'd have to actually go get him. And it is a large puppet almost on the scale of a Muppet.
Okay.
Yes, I think I've seen this book.
Yes, you have. There are pictures of it on my Instagram, some incomplete, and then there's some that are complete. But yeah, no, it's...
Does your puppet have a name?
Steve.
Steve.
Yes.
Steve, much like our new Minecraft film, the lead is Steve.
Yes.
Is Steve a placeholder, or does Steve have a specific story to his name?
Steve has some stories,
Oh,
plenty of stories.
Oh my.
Yes, and it's also my interpretation of one of my best friends from high school because he was Steve. The difference, and he was also really short. So
What's that like?
no, like he was about 5 feet tall, but he'd argue for the
Same.
5'1".
Also same.
Yeah,
Steve, I feel you out there, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've lost touch with him over the years, and this is like my own little homage to him.
Nice.
So, good guy. He was one of these people, very much like Henry, who would give you the shirt off of his back.
Very kind.
So, but I've lost touch with him, so I don't know what's been going on with him. So, the puppet was more my way of like, hey, here's a little placeholder in my heart for an old buddy who meant a lot to me.
Oh, that's a fun idea.
Yeah. And making the puppet itself was a good project and a good learning experience. Trying to figure out how to use a sewing machine,
Yes.
which unfortunately at the rate we're all going, we're going to probably need to learn how to sew.
I agree. I think it's a wonderful skill that has always profited humanity.
Oh, absolutely. So being able to fix, like, you get your button flies off your pants, you should at least be able to do that.
Yeah.
So it's, simple
And
life
patches,
skills.
Putting patches on clothing.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. Mending.
Or just putting a patch in general on something just to make it look cooler.
Also true. Also true.
So, yeah. So now your podcast is on your YouTube channel.
It's on my YouTube
Is there any other places that it can be heard?
It's currently on YouTube exclusively, and while we're figuring that out, you can look myself up. You can look up Melanie Hill. She was also pitching herself as Sophie Beckett, and we were both pitching ourselves as the Latina version because Shondaland very much embraces colorism. Wait, does that sound bad? Very much embraces just actors
all.
of different wakes of
Yes.
life and regions. And for me, I was submitting myself as the pint-sized Puerto Rican version of Sophie Beckett because Puerto Rico is neither a country nor a state. It's already bastardized. Let's go. And she was pitching herself. She's British-Mexican. So,
Ooh.
right. So, like, those are two cultural worlds colliding. And so we really found a lot in common with how we interpreted her character. So you can look up Melanie Hill as well for our different takes.
Yes. So I'll definitely be linking your YouTube channel so that this way people will be able to find your podcast along with your one-woman show.
Thank you.
And remind everybody again when they'll be able to get tickets to see this.
Tickets are available now. Available on eventbrite.com. Look for Danielle XX 2025 at the Producers Club. It will be Sunday, May 18th at 6 p.m. Hopefully that's both early enough in the day and late enough in the day that people are around and available. I hope you can join. I really appreciate you letting me talk about it. We are going to gush about things that happened in Catholic school, things that I thought were going to happen, that time I snuck out my window. It's a good time.
I can definitely relate to the Catholic school part. Got out of that as quickly as I could.
Oh my goodness. One of my favorite things
Touched
that
with a
came out of
50-foot
that.
pole,
Exactly.
except for CCD.
No, I
The
wouldn't.
Confraternity of Christian Doctrine. Notice the word con. Yes, I said it, but I'm just poking fun. Followers of the faith, don't worry. We're just going to have a good time while acknowledging some other things. Adam and Eve is one of my takes, and that was actually one of the first pieces that I wrote because I was doing a stand-up bit about it and how.
Now
like,
that's Adam and Eve
Not
from
Adam
the
and
Bible.
Steve.
No, not Adam
No
and
offense to
Eve,
Steve.
the
Yeah.
toy company. The adult toy
They're
company.
not involved, but I guess if they want to be my sponsor, I am very open to this sponsorship. Let's just shower the world in education and enhancing the pleasure of the experience. Too many people have unpleasurable experiences, and that's the real crime. No, really, that can be a real crime.
Yes. So now we do want to move on to some of our other topics, but I'm definitely going to make sure that in all of the descriptions, we will have links to your show and to your YouTube channel so that this way everyone will be easily able to find your podcast and get tickets to your show, because I haven't seen it, but from everything you've posted and talked about it, I am highly looking forward, and hopefully I have the time off to be able to go.
Yes.
Because
Take the time off now. Do it, society. Do it.
yes, because we all need a little theater in our lives every now and
We do.
then.
And you know what? That's also the idea. Like when you join me in the theater space, we all have the chance to just turn off our thoughts and our worries, hang up all our beliefs, just tuck them away in a drawer and let me weave you a dream for a while.
Yeah, because now we got to talk about the show that we were going to discuss
Oh,
last
yes,
week,
The
Bondsman.
Go.
Yes.
Now, Jimmy went and brought this up the last episode that he practically read my mind on the topic for the episode because I saw the trailer for The Bondsman. He had already started watching it. So Kevin Bacon as a bondsman who gets killed and comes back from hell.
Save Kevin Bacon.
Oh,
At all costs.
yes. Kevin Bacon did a phenomenal job with this. I was not expecting it to be as funny and entertaining as it is. I would put it somewhere in the vein of Supernatural, but just not as intense because it's only a half hour for each episode out of the 8 episodes that are available.
And it's just the storyline on it when you first see and why he's going after these guys and everything as the bondsman, and then who sets him up to kill him. Oh boy! Then it's just that's how you start running with this, and you just keep going with the show.
Oh yeah, and he's not playing the most likable character, but for some reason you do still kind of like him, even though it's like he's a little unscrupulous. He's trying to manipulate. I mean, the first time you see him as before getting killed and coming back, he's like hunting down these guys, and he uses a hornet's nest to put it inside the vent. For the air conditioning vent to get them out of the hotel room.
Oh my goodness.
So you're kicking up a hornet's nest just to go and get other people to come out criminal wise.
Very literally.
Yeah, you're like, wow, like I was not expecting the creativity of being able to be like, oh no, he's gonna actually use this to get them out instead of being the guy who's just kicking down the door and like taking these guys. I was like, what the?
Nice. So there's no ingenuity here.
Yeah. So, and Kevin Bacon did a great job. The entire cast is actually amazing. And I got to say, the special effects for the demons is incredible. The makeup that they did for the final, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but the final main boss of the season looks absolutely amazing. And the story that they've got interweaved into it and it's Blumhouse, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Blumhouse. Blumhouse is known for doing a bunch of horror and sci-fi stuff.
You wouldn't expect them for TV.
Yeah.
Everybody expects them for the movies, but Blumhouse and Amazon/MGM, as they're now being known.
Yes, since Amazon bought MGM.
Yep.
There it is.
And now, and because they also own the licensing rights for James Bond.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yes.
They're going to be an Amazon James Bond?
You very well might be.
That's where you find a couple of the documentaries right now on James Bond too.
Yeah. So Amazon's been reaching out, doing a little bit better with some of the stuff. They're not just where we're just tuning in for Invincible or The Boys.
Or as I just now caught, #1 Happy USA Family, which is a cartoon, 8 episodes, is and it's ridiculous. That's all I'm going to start with. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Amazon's been stepping up their game in the entertainment field.
Yeah.
You know, may not like some of their corporate policies, but when it does come to their entertainment stuff on Prime, I'm not a fan of them like jacking up the price because they wanted to add commercials.
No. Actually, I found out why they jacked up the price.
Really?
Yes.
Go on.
What is it? Spill the tea.
They sent Gail and Katy Perry to space.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
And if you watch the video, you hear screaming, and it's Gail. Out of anybody. They showed a video, you see Katy Perry with her butterfly tour and everything, her set, and Gail's there like, Oprah, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you, Oprah. She gets off, and she blessed the ground and everything, Gail. Katie's like, she just found Jesus. Jeff Bezos looking for the door, and he trips. He tripped looking for the door. They caught it on a highlight. You can't make this up.
Listen, the fact that they went up in space in a cock rocket.
No.
Thank you for
They're
saying
calling
it.
it. Yes, they're calling
I
it. But
mean,
actually,
Yes.
they're calling it a vibration monitor.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
It just
someone else is calling it.
penetrated space. That's what happened.
No pun intended.
And there's your X-rated content for this episode.
Please, no complaints on this. All right.
No, but The Bondsman left off only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to a second season of this. That is a sign.
They left you hungry. For
Yeah.
more.
When you leave off on a cliffhanger that makes you want the next season, especially for sometimes Amazon is known for putting things out 1 or 2 episodes at a time. This one was a full, like, they dumped the entire season, which was completely the smart idea because now you're hungry for the next season.
Yeah.
And hopefully we won't have to wait too long for that. Now, another thing that we want to touch on is the movie Y2K.
Yes.
And because it also fits because we were talking Disney and mentioned Snow White and Y2K stars Rachel Zegler.
Oh, so on the
Yes.
alternate end of the spectrum.
Exactly.
Not only that, but did you see who his mother was in this?
Oh, yeah. It was Alicia Silverstone.
Well, then, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yep. And the movie came out like last year, Y2K. The entire premise is that where they're getting ready at the end of the 90s, New Year's Eve. They're preparing for the Y2K bug. And it turns out that that bug basically takes all technology and is using the internet to interconnect to a hive mind, creating robots that are trying to kill people.
How is killing people?
You know what these robots?
But they also wanted to enslave them as well.
I mean, that makes more sense to me than the murder.
They were okay with.
Not that I approve of this. No.
Yeah, no. The entire premise is that the robots they're going to enslave humanity, but if a few people kind of get in the way and, you crack a few eggs.
Sorry.
Can I just interject a personal grievance
Go
here?
ahead.
Every time it comes to a robot narrative, it's always the humans that introduce the idea of enslaving and murdering mankind to the robots. The robots never think of it themselves. We give them their ideas. Really, it's humanity's fault that it happens in the first place.
Which is technically funny because the previous episode we watched The Electric State, and in the movie The Electric State, the robots they're helper robots, they're workers, and they become sentient, and they're looking for freedom. They're looking for equality and to be treated like if they were actual people.
Right.
And so they weren't trying to enslave, but they have a robot civil war.
Okay. That's a fun, fresh thing.
Yeah.
Although I heard things.
Yeah.
About
there are things about The Electric State. It's not the best movie, but it's a fun movie.
Okay, that's
And then but it's also like the fun part is all the Easter eggs of who's voicing which robot.
Oh, is that so? Okay,
Yes.
So who are some of your favorite voices there?
Oh, well, Anthony Mackie. Because you've got Chris Pratt, so you've got Star-Lord and you've got the new Captain America together in a movie.
Nice.
And Anthony Mackie's robot, though, it's like he keeps switching robot bodies. So it's he's got a larger one, smaller one for different jobs.
Huh.
And at one point, he's literally in a giant robot body walking, holding a VW bus, not the van.
Yeah, the VW van.
Yeah. So the Volkswagen van, like the old school, like hippie van.
1960
van.
van.
He's holding it and carrying them across the wastelands.
Wow.
Yeah. So
is fun.
there's a lot of fun stuff there, as opposed to Y2K, which there's a lot of fun nostalgia in there because the music. I was not expecting Fred Durst to show up in this.
Oh gosh, that was hysterical for him to show up.
I gotta
But you
confess,
know what?
I
It
do
also
not know.
reminded me of the robots a bit.
Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's. The robots reminded me of Five Nights at Freddy's. Just the way their structure.
Well, the thing is, they were for Y2K. They were cobbled together,
Yeah.
so it's like the technology is just grabbing everything.
It was like they were Voltrons together. in a way. It's like form with the computer, with the Jeep.
It was a little weirder because it was more like the circuits and wiring was like grabbing them, so it was kind of like almost like a symbiote. Grabbing them, like if you think Venom, where it's like it's locking around and wrapping, like webbing them together, cobbling this weird robot amalgamation where the head is like the face could be a computer, but then the body, it's like you'll have like different machines in there. So like the designs were very creative.
Okay.
And then having the high school kids, juniors in high school, basically going at a party and then everything goes haywire from there. And I mean,
That's tough.
one of the main kids, I don't know the actor's name, but he was in Deadpool 2, where he was Fire Fist from Deadpool 2. So you got a heavyset Kiwi in the movie, and he's doing, like, I don't know if you got through the credits, Jimmy, for it, because if you stopped it too quick, you missed the little music video they do of him doing a computerized rendition of the thong song.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So you've got like
Now that's great memories. 1999, I think.
yeah,
That was Julian Dennison, who was Danny.
yeah. So this had like a great cast. There were people like popping up that you didn't expect. Fred Durst was one I didn't expect from Limp Bizkit.
Fred Durst saves the
there
world.
we go. There
Yes. So so as a musician, him coming in, because they got the kids talking about the rap rockers and the rappers, like who's a poser, and like conversations that everyone had in the late 90s. So there was such a nostalgia factor there. Although out of all the kid actors that were in there, I believe, according to IMDb, only 2 of them were alive during Y2K. One was 3 and the other one was like 5. So makes me feel old.
That does not make them kid actors if they were 3 and 5 in Y2K.
Yes, but
They're approaching 30.
yes, but in the movie,
They haven't
yes,
did it yet.
but when the actual Y2K happened, they were children.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Alicia Silverstone, I was like, okay, makes sense. She was definitely around.
I mean, she was our Cher.
Oh yeah. Not only that, she was Batgirl for a little
Specifically
bit.
Cher Horowitz,
Yes.
not Cher.
Yes, you know, the clueless.
Indeed.
Yes.
But it was an iconic time.
Oh,
for the
absolutely.
90s. Like,
So it really had like a good amalgamation of stuff that was in there. I love like the nostalgia, the soundtrack for Y2K was so much fun because, like I said, they're doing the thong song. You've got a bunch of Limp Bizkit stuff that's in there with Fred Durst. Like the music, the gore that was in there was like impressive as well. I was not expecting some of it.
I'm warned.
Yeah, but it does have like the fun elements to it because it's like they made sure Rachel Zegler wasn't playing like just, oh, she's the cute girl in high school that like the guy's got a crush on. No, she was actually computer smart. She was building the computers, like the website for the high school where they just got high speed internet. Which, when you're seeing the computers, you're seeing the old Windows. You actually get like the AOL startup, like
welcome.
Yeah.
Yo.
So you get that they're using AOL chat, like the messenger and everything.
Guys, we saw the dawn of the internet.
Oh yeah. So that's exactly what they're showing. It for anyone who wasn't around for that and doesn't understand the struggle of not being able to pick up the phone.
Being kicked out of a chat room because someone did pick up the phone.
Yep.
There goes your connection.
Or, you know, your crush pops up and the messenger,
it's online.
and then all of a sudden you hear the door close because they just left. It's like they popped on, saw there was no emails or anything, and then left. So you were like, I missed my opportunity.
That was the birth of online stalking.
Oh, absolutely.
Not that I would know anything about that.
Absolutely not. Why would you ever?
You stalking? No.
Know what you mean.
I would never.
Never in mind. I never had a placeholder account to message my crush and pretend I was not me ever.
Yes. And, you know, when it used to take, like, if you were able to send a photo, how long it would take to actually load.
God. And then by increments.
Yes. You're watching it loading.
The pixels were just like building a bridge across.
And it's funny because I was actually having a conversation with somebody where recently where I said, and it didn't really, I didn't even think about it with the movie, but when MySpace came out, MySpace was a great social media platform because you were able to customize everything. But I think its biggest failure was that it was still before high-speed internet. So it was, you could do so much, but your connection speed was so slow. So you put like your favorite music, you'd have a music video, a background, you could change the backgrounds where they'd be sparkly and all GIF-like and have stuff.
Get that snow or glitter to rain down on the page.
Yep. And it would slow someone's computer down to load up your page.
Yeah.
But if it was nowadays,
Oh my
you can only
God.
imagine how quickly everything would go.
What was your background on your MySpace?
Oh, I changed it to like a black background with the green, with like I believe a blue line, like blue lines.
Okay.
And I think I had like some stars to it.
Nice, nice. Very cosmic.
I
Yes.
think I just had the normal one.
Just you had the
Oh, you
setup
didn't.
thingy.
You didn't want a code?
I don't even remember because it's been what is it? As they say, Star Wars, long ago and far away.
Yeah. I tried logging back in, and it's not the same.
No,
and
I had to let it go because it wasn't the same. It's like everything got owned, so I just deleted it. I was like, if I can't own my MySpace, no one can own my MySpace.
Yeah.
There were so many messages. The wall. The wall.
Oh yeah, your
I
top
had-
friends.
The top friends caused so many
And
infights.
Mike was your top friend.
No.
No, not Mike. Tom.
Yeah, Tom was your first friend.
Where is he now?
Oh well, he sold the company and went off and did good things, and he's not bothering anybody.
There you go.
No.
He
You
never
know?
was. He just had mathematical equations on his wall, and he was
He-
like, "Sup, guys?"
Yep, he just wanted to make sure everyone had a connection, and I changed my top 8 to a top 16.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I did the coding to change it over
That's
to
effort.
get the 16 because couldn't do the top 8.
Top 8 was pressure.
Yeah.
Top 8 meant too much. And if you changed the location of one of your top 8, it would be like, so what's going on? Why am I number 3 instead of number 2? Like all of
Oh, yeah.
this. Oh my God.
Although I will say, I believe like I did keep in my top, at least when it was still the top 8 or the top 16, I still had the actress Tiffany Seppis in there because her and I meeting at the conventions and stuff, she's very friendly with all of her fans, and like her and I had a good rapport, and she was always so much fun, and she would always make sure she would wish a happy birthday.
That is sweet. That's
Yes.
going out of your way to stay connected.
Yeah, and because it's like, and that's the thing. That's the only good thing about Facebook nowadays is it reminds you of whose
People's
birthday it is.
I know.
Yes.
Facebook is too much of a conglomerate. I both appreciate it and
It's a one-
find it's a mindless desert wasteland with my favorite meme locations.
Yes, it's great for memes. It's great for remembering people's birthdays and advertising for a podcast or a video or a
Yeah.
blog.
A one-woman show.
Or
Exactly.
one-woman show. It is. It's basically just walking ad space for everyone. If you even get to see it, because the algorithm is like, this isn't a video, delete.
Yeah, if they're not pushing a reel that doesn't target what they want, and then the next batch doesn't match anything when you swipe up.
Yeah.
So it's like, this wasn't what I was looking for. This isn't even in the vein of what. The algorithm's not there. But then again, you can tell there's been a lackluster element to Facebook.
For a long time.
Yeah, and nowadays it's only getting worse, but
Well, remember, it's Meta now.
eh.
Exactly.
Meta's the corporation behind Facebook and Instagram. We'll see how long they even have, because I believe.
You know, Instagram has meant more to me than Facebook because
Yeah.
at least Instagram has been more customizable. Like you can pair your likes better. You can check in specifically. A lot easier. The search engine on Facebook is a joke.
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
Insulting, actually.
Yep.
How did we go down this road? What happened? Oh, we were talking about MySpace.
MySpace, Y2K, MySpace. It happens, yes.
Well,
Yes.
now I know.
Now, the movie Y2K, I can't give it a definite recommend, but I can give it like, if you're looking for a fun watch, this is something that you can have. You'll have a good time, and if you were around during that time, you'll get the
You'll get the gist
nostalgia.
of it. Yep.
But also, it's like a cute like teen romance because there is that mixed in there as well.
We do love a good teen romance.
Yeah.
It's like that mix of innocence and like, "Ah, we believe in you, find love.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like there's also a robot apocalypse kind of going on.
Find love because you might die tomorrow. Which is still true for everyone.
Yes.
Knock on wood.
Well, that sounds like the algorithms for dating apps. But
Oh my God. Find someone because you might die.
Yep. See, now that's the perfect advertisement. I would love to have you
That's
do
your
a
dating app?
Yep, just
we can make a fake dating app.
Yeah.
A new Tinder
What should we call
commercial.
It's like lonely or not.
it? Just
You
kidding,
decide.
we're all lonely.
Yeah.
Scroll either up, down, left, or right, or whatever way you feel for today.
It'll be like the beginning of N64 Mario when you could pull on his face and like stretch him out.
Yep.
You could stretch out the location of where you want the app to take you.
Yeah. And I'm not getting the Switch 2. That $500 for that is
I had this
ridiculous.
conversation
Oh,
with my
wait.
brother.
Did you
He's
hear how
angsted
much
about
the
it.
16,
The games are going
the iPhone 16 is going up
Oh,
to?
jeez.
$3,500.
Close, 2,200.
Lord, listen, whatever phones we have now, let's make them last.
Oh,
Let's
absolutely.
make them last. Phone
Yeah.
in my pocket, we're going places together.
Oh yeah. Otherwise, I'm gonna start ordering those phones off of TikTok, so this way I have the backup. So it's like,
Oh my God, the TikTok shop?
Yeah, the $60 or the $70 like phones.
Let's just, again, speaking Y2K, let's go right back to when we could pull the batteries out of our phones and basically make our own phone Frankenstein.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, you had like the old Nokia that
But I was
didn't.
about to say, then you cannot be on the socials. On the other hand, this is becoming a thing. People are truly unplugging by getting their hands on an older
Yeah.
phone.
Well, the thing is too, if you look and you go back to the Galaxy 4, that one you could still take the battery out.
Wow.
Because you could replace the battery. So you could still be online, but you can always take the battery out.
What? That's shocking to me. How does that work?
The back panel came off, and you
But
could
now
take.
how do you stay online with the battery out?
Well, no,
It's
I'm
not-
saying you could take the battery out and change
Oh,
the
I
battery.
see. It had both those features.
Yes.
Haha. It took me
So
a
you
minute,
could
but I got
replace the
there.
battery, which I've had to do several times. And it's still in a memory card, so you could always take the
Not
stuff.
to mention, you drop that in water. So much easier to dry it because you just pull the compartments off.
Exactly. So, and hopefully you're not dropping things in
I don't
water.
know about you guys. I don't drop technology often, but I do keep a specific vat of rice just in case.
Hey,
Never cook
the
with
San
that
Francisco,
rice.
oh, no, that's rice aroni.
Yeah. Now, before we wrap things up, they did go and they changed the WrestleMania card on us when we went and we did it. So we're going to just quickly go over the WrestleMania card to see for our predictions of who we've got. And night one, we know the main event is going to be Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus CM Punk with Paul Heyman in CM Punk's corner. I'm still going with Seth Rollins on some sneaky win.
I'm still
Jimmy?
going. I'll go with Rome. I'm either going with Roman on this one to shock everybody, because I think Paul Heyman has something in the back of his mind and everything, and he'll pull something out, and you might even see Punk change to heel.
Well, now another match on the night one card is Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton for the women's championship. I'm going with Tiffany Stratton.
I agree.
She needs to beat Charlotte Flair for her title to actually mean more, especially with the fact that the program hasn't been the best when it comes to them on the mic. But physically, they've done such an amazing job with telling the story and adding in like a few jealousy moments in
Moonsaulting
there.
off the top. Of
Oh, yeah. Now, we've also got Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Championship, and I'm going Jey Uso.
Yeet.
The Yeet Master main event Jey Uso.
Yes.
So it sounds like we're in agreement there. Now, we've got Jade Cargill versus Naomi.
The way this is going, you got to be careful with Naomi. She might sneak a win, but
Yeah.
I'm still going with Jade.
Yeah, I like both of them, but Jade Cargill looks like she came off of a comic book page. Like, her physique is phenomenal, and she's coming
getting
back.
up.
This is a revenge match, so I'm going to go with Jade Cargill. Now we've got, for the United States Championship, we've got Jacob Fatu versus the champ, LA Knight.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, I love LA Knight, but Jacob Fatu has been on a roll, and the Samoan Werewolf is absolutely amazing. So
The only way that LA Knight will retain is if Solo gets into the match, but I'm going with Jacob. And you know
Yep.
what I just seen the other day? It's funny you mention it. his little brother was at Battle Riot for MLW,
Yeah,
and he was facing Riddle.
yeah, there's going to be a bunch of like changes coming up and people who've been signed, but we still got a couple more matches for night
Yes.
one. So we also have the tag team titles from Raw, which would be the New Day versus the War Raiders. I got to go with the War Raiders.
War Raiders.
You know, the new version of the New Day, they're not all happy-go-lucky, you know, rainbows and unicorns anymore.
No.
They're not fun. And they used to be a blast. They throw pancakes out at people. They had their own cereal Bootios. Ever since they turned on Big E, I'm going with the War Raiders. And then the last match that we have on the card is Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano.
He's getting unmasked.
He better be.
He better be.
Because
I want to see Gable be like, no, it's not
But
me.
there's a chance it may not actually be Gable, though. So we'll see what happens there. But it's a controversial match, let alone because you have Lucha Libre versus Lucha Libre, but El Grande Americano from the Gulf of America. Bullshit. It's the Gulf of
Yes.
Mexico. I don't want to hear anything else about that one.
Well, they're characters, so
Yes.
it's okay to be from a fictional place there.
Yeah. You know.
I'm getting a WrestleMania education
yeah.
right now.
Well, you know what? You're 100% right because
Yes.
how many wrestlers came out from parts unknown?
I don't know. Can you keep... I don't have enough many hands to keep counting.
Exactly. So now let's move on to night two. And we have John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the Universal Championship.
I'll be in bed by then.
Well, yeah, because
'cause
both
now-
nights are 9 hours long.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Let us explain why I said that. A 3-hour pre-show.
Yep.
Why?
For night one and night two.
A 4-hour show. And then 2-hour post-show.
Yeah.
Again, the word I said. Why?
For
Yeah.
the content.
But the thing is, it's like they're not even doing any warm-up matches or anything on the pre-show. So this is going to be a lot of hype, a lot of talking. It's going. I understand what they're doing, and they're doing this in Vegas. But 3 hours for a pre-show
Okay.
is
Excessive.
yeah. I can understand the post-show because they're doing like press conferences and stuff afterwards. But 2 nights, 9 hours apiece.
No.
That's more than a work shift. So
That's overtime.
yeah.
But now, just to even fill people in, if you remember, what was it? WrestleMania 35 started at 4 o'clock, where you started on USA or the WWE Network at
Yeah.
the time, and it didn't end till, which was the Triple Threat Women's main event at what? Almost 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
and people were getting home at 20 to 3.
Yeah, breaking it up into 2 nights gives people an opportunity to see the show. If you can't make one night, especially when tickets, especially the closer you want to get to the ring, are over $1,000.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a commitment.
Well,
that's an
And
investment.
because it's a WrestleMania,
wait,
they're a lot more.
$1,000?
Over, I said over.
Yeah, about 15.
Yeah,
And we also get a chair.
yeah, you get to keep the folding
you
chair.
Get to keep the folding chair. But no,
Souvenirs.
yeah, but let me tell you, and Danny knows, and he's seen it. There are people that'll take those folding chairs to events and have the wrestlers sign them.
Yeah,
That have been there.
Well, I mean, that's like getting your playbill signed after a show.
exactly.
Makes
So,
sense.
I mean, they take.
But
their
this is a
championship,
chair.
but This is a
Yes,
chair.
it's usable in a different way.
yeah,
So, and at least on the 2 nights, unlike last year where you're like, do you want to freeze your ass off or do you want to be a little bit warmer?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not in like Philadelphia in the freezing cold at the beginning of April. They waited till Easter weekend, and it's in Vegas this
Yeah,
year.
they
So,
gotta wait
but let's
some
get
strange reason.
back into this. So we've got the undisputed title, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. I'm going with Cena. I want him getting number 17.
Everybody wants him to get 17. I'm like, he's going to get it. He's going to probably get it thanks to Dwayne.
Well, if that's the case, that's the case, and I'm fine with that. Now we've got the women's triple threat title match: Io Sky, the champ, taking on Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. My money's on Rhea.
Mommy.
I gotta go.
Mommy.
Yeah, of course, we gotta go with mommy because mommy's always on top. Rhea.
As you say.
No, Rhea.
No.
Rhea
I'm learning.
Yeah,
Yes.
Rhea Ripley is a phenomenon. She is a powerhouse, and she has
She's held the title in NXT, and let me rebacktrack that. NXT UK, NXT, SmackDown, and Raw. So she's had basically everything.
And she is extremely talented. Bianca Belair is just as good. She's got a 4-0 WrestleMania streak, but it's a triple threat match, and I'm going with Rhea Ripley. Io may be a surprise because Io is extremely talented, but my money's on Rhea. Now we've got a fatal 4-way match for the Intercontinental Championship.
Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, so Braun Breaker, the champ, taking on Finn Balor, and of course Dirty Dom himself, Dominic Mysterio.
Jailbird.
Yeah, and go ahead, do it.
Settle.
Penta, the luchador.
I want to see Penta win.
I want to see Penta win, but I've got a feeling deep down that this is going to be Dirty Dom's night. I hate to see it, but
This is how, we've been all saying it. I think this is how.
The end of the Judgment Day. Yeah. So there's been some contention going on within a group, and Finn and
they've already
Dom
lost Priest.
They're in the same group, and they're fighting over kind of who's in charge.
Escándalo.
Yes. Now we've got AJ Styles versus Logan Paul.
You saw what I shared to you? What they've had at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
The Fest.
Yep.
They
did it with
beat Logan Paul with a chair.
Yeah, they had it with. It was with Dominic Mysterio.
Paul was a podcaster. He's actually a wrestler, or
Yes.
did he insert himself into wrestling?
He has kind of done both.
And by the way,
And unfortunately, we're getting crammed with Prime advertisements, and I would never drink that garbage. But
that's why it's in the Dollar Tree.
Yeah, but I'm going AJ Styles. If Logan Paul wins, it's going to be a tragedy. It really will.
There will be a riot in Vegas.
Now we've got the Sin City Street fight: Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. I'm going with the Street King himself, Damian Priest.
Oh, you know who I'm going.
I got to go with the Puerto Rican.
Yep.
He really.
Listen.
No,
as a fellow Puerto Rican, rock on.
Listen, DT says the same thing.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying I gotta go.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yep.
And Damian Priest, big guy, extremely talented, and he deserves it. Yeah. He deserves this as a win. Drew McIntyre is extremely talented, but I gotta go with my Puerto Rican.
Yep.
And then we've got the women's tag team title match, which is Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez taking on Lyra Valkyria and Bayley.
I think you're going to laugh.
Go
Usually
ahead.
I'd say Bayley and Lyra. No.
Okay.
I think something's going to happen in that match. One of them's going to turn on each other, and Liv and Raquel are going to retain.
All right.
I'm going to go with that one.
Are you guys taking bets here?
No, but I'll get
it's not money bet. This is more just like friendly, like.
I'm just saying, let it be known.
Oh, no, but I'll enlighten you in a minute on that. It's funny you mentioned that.
So now, my choice, though, I want Bayley and Lyra to win, but I do have to say I'm going to probably go with Liv and Raquel, because there does seem to be like more momentum in their corner, especially because Liv and Raquel are an actual team, as opposed to we just put two together, even though they went through a gauntlet match.
Holy shit.
They took on a lot of people for the opportunity, and they started as the first team and went out after
bell to bell.
So doing that is a lot.
Wow, I'm yawning. I'm not even putting that effort in.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah. So now with that all wrapped up, we're going to take go ahead.
Now, it's funny she mentioned on that with the betting. I had told Dan, Peacock had put up a documentary about the first time they were in Vegas. It's called WrestleMania 9, The Spectacle. You know how much it took them a year just to get this there. They had all started off with at SummerSlam when it was Sugar Ray Leonard versus Donnie Lalonde, who not people did not know that McMahon had invested a lot of money in Lalonde. I knew about that from my friend Billy years ago, but it went through that. And also, you'll laugh, people did not, unless you lived in Vegas, you didn't realize there was bets up.
Of course there was.
And Yokozuna and the Bret Hart match, Yokozuna was at even odds.
Yep.
That.
Listen, I don't want to get too much into the gambling thing because that's.
I know.
I follow the rule my mom taught me, which is never gamble anything you're not willing to lose.
That's why I also bet the coin toss at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't.
And I still break even.
Yeah, yeah, it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
No, so now we're going to wrap everything up for this week, and we're going to have an exciting episode next time, possibly with another guest. We'll see how that one all pans out. But, Danielle, you want to tell everyone how they can get in touch with you?
Well, you can take me to Google and go Danielle Marivet Hernandez. That's a long name. Let's spell it. Danielle. Did I have to rush it? No. Marivet, Marivette, and then Hernandez. It's phonetic, Hernandez. You can find me on social media at Des Marivet, DezMarivette. Is this a spelling bee? God, I did not sign up for this.
When did we turn
But I'm doing it. YouTube, social media, TikTok, Instagram, all of those, you'll find me under that social, or you can show up in person on May 18th at the Producers Club on 44th and 9th Avenue and meet me. That would be awesome.
Make sure you get your tickets.
Please do. Bye today.
Yep. Now, Jimmy, how can everybody get in touch with you? Because he's about to go through the list.
Blue Sky, James H 925, Snapchat James SI 0925, all lowercase. Instagram and Threads, James H _ the fourth, James Haynes the fourth on Facebook, TikToks, James 0925, and special shout out again, since they invited us to his Zoom party for Movie Hop. Please, if you get a chance, get the game. And Blast from the Past, Blast FTP on Instagram. You can find the Movie Fan Pro, who, with this game, invited me. We had a great time. I came in 4th place. I don't care. I had a great time. Movie Pro, where you match up. All right? We'll give an easy one he had. Kung Fu Panda to Iron Man. You can match up in either 3 or 2 chains, just like Kevin, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. You match it up to that. And how do you do it? Jack Black to Tropic Thunder to Robert Downey Jr. to Iron Man.
That was 4. You did it.
That's it. That's
There
the
you go.
easiness.
So now you can find me, the Blue Dragoon himself, at Blue Dragoon 13 on all of my socials, which would be Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and I'm gonna have to keep going with this one because I'm on way too many of these socials. You can find Instagram, and on Instagram you can also go and find the Dragoon Lair Official, which is the new page that we have, Dragoon's Lair Official. So we still have the Dragoon's Lair podcast Instagram page, but we have a new one that's having all the reels that are going up on there.
That TikTok tells us no, and then we tell them this.
Yeah, TikTok has been giving me a few issues because we've spoken about Daredevil Born Again. We'll get to that one on the next episode.
Not a problem.
Because we need to settle in on that one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we need to ruminate. There was a lot for
Hitting
that.
you in different places.
Yes, that season finale was just something. So, yes, you can also find me, Blue Dragoon 13, on YouTube, which is where you can watch episodes of the Dragoon's Lair podcast. You can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast, anywhere where your favorite podcasting platforms are. Spotify is our home where you can watch the video versions first and listen to the audio versions everywhere else. 1 week later, we're up on the YouTube channel. You can make sure you can send us emails at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. Wow, I have not promoted that once this episode until now.
Yes.
This is a record.
Yeah. A rarity.
Yeah, normally we try to get at least 3 of those in. Now, if you would like to send any messages to Danielle and you can't find her social, you can send them to me at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com, and I will forward those messages on to her. So please send all fan mail, and I will definitely make sure she gets that.
Yes.
Keep them appropriate.
They better be, because I'm going to be filtering them.
Filter right here. I'm still going to hear about it.
Oh, she'll hear about it. I just won't let her see it. And if you send any unnecessary eggplant pictures, I will make sure that I report you. After I turn them into an NFT and then sell
I
them.
was about to say we should
Yes.
run
Yes.
it through AI and make it ridiculous.
Oh,
and
no,
we're
no.
gonna put you on a wall of humiliation.
Yes.
Wall of humiliation, or we just make it an NFT and then they have to buy it back.
You'll be doing hard time in the wrong way.
Yes, and
On the other hand.
yeah, but if you go to any one of my socials, you'll be able to find a link in my profile that has a link to every one of the socials and a way to contact us. But the email is the easiest way. Also, don't forget to take part in the Spotify polls. I put one up every single episode. I leave it running for a little over a week. The latest one was, should we talk more wrestling or more anime? And once we're done with Wrestlemania season, we're going to dial back wrestling a little bit, and I'm going to go more into anime because the vote was anime.
Good.
So we're
Timeless.
gonna so we're gonna be doing that. So I want to make sure everyone has themselves a blast, but make sure, and you don't need to have Spotify to go to the Spotify page. Spotify is technically free.
Yes.
You only pay for it if you want to get rid of the commercials. Which, keep the commercials, keep them. The voice actors need them. Trust me, because we're not doing this AI
Keeping
stuff.
them employed.
Exactly.
Seriously.
And so I also, when I pay for it, I kind of miss some of the voices in the commercials.
Yeah.
Some of them feel like home. And with that being said, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank the lovely and talented Danielle for being here with Jimmy and I.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
me.
Jimmy.
Thank you.
And
That's awesome.
with that being said, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Now get out.
Bye-bye.
Adios.